Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chumps. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV.
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. How are we doing? It's Tuesday night. It's 7 o'clock. It could mean anything at the moment with all the games. They are coming thick and fast, just as this show does. You are watching.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
and it's live.
Well, put it this way, I was this morning when I woke up anyway. It's questionable whether I still am. It's been one of those days. Good evening. I hope you are all alive and all well. And thanks for joining us and watching. It is the preview show, and you can catch us live now on YouTube, on Leicester Till I Die TV, on Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group, and on Twitter and on Periscope at Leicester TID. We've got a game coming up tomorrow night. Let us know what your thoughts are. Fill those comments in. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your score draws. And if you are watching on YouTube, please, a subtle hint here, because you know my middle name is Subtle. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Press that little subscribe button and give us a follow. We would be really, really appreciative of it. Like I say, tomorrow night, 8:15, Goodison Park. Leicester City against Everton at Goodison Park. We are going to be without a certain Jamie Vardy, but I'm not going to be without my chat from Craig this evening. He's here to join us. Let's bring you in, Craig. Oh, Craig, you're looking different tonight. How the devil are you, sir? No, let me bring him in. Let me click the right button. Good evening, Craig.
Hardly any difference, is there? I bet people watching just think you're just playing the same loop.
I'm not sure what it says about. I don't want to be either of them. But we were referred to, for those people that are just wondering what's going on, at the end of last week's show. We were referred to as Statler and Waldorf.
Mm.
I think I've sooner been referred to as Keys and Gray, but there we go.
Yeah. I'm not so sure, to be honest. I hope whoever made that reference has been well and truly blocked, Chris.
He's been dealt with, shall we say? But that's where we are. Everton tomorrow, first return fixture of the season, without a certain Mr. Vardy, and we've not got him. I think probably for these next 5 games, they reckon.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? I know Brendan was trying to. Brendan's been sending mixed messages. To be honest, I'm not surprised. I am surprised that he's not doing the next government briefing. To be honest, but Yeah, in the first instance, I think he said he thinks he'd be back pretty quick because he's a fast healer. And then the next thing it was, he's a bit sore. We don't want to rush him back. It might be a bit longer. So I think it's either he doesn't know or he's playing a few mind games, I think. And it probably the latter, knowing the managers as we do these days.
Yes. I mean, I thought I'd read or heard somewhere, I'm sure I read it, that it was possibly he wanted him back for the Liverpool game, which would take up those 4 league games and the cup game. And to be fair, Everton, Leeds, Fulham, Wolves, they're probably not the worst games that Jamie could miss.
No, on paper, unfortunately, it's that kind of season, isn't it? So you never know which team's going to turn up on any given day. There's every chance he would have missed or been rested for the cup game anyway, although, it's a great opportunity to get into the quarterfinals. So I think that's got to be the game that he targets. And maybe the cup game will be one where he makes a comeback, because it will be asking a lot to miss, 4 weeks or whatever it is, and then come straight back into a big game against Liverpool. So maybe he'll give him a little bit of pitch time if he feels him ready before that.
But on Sunday we were saying Jamie who, weren't we? But
I think we'd mentioned before though that we were confident that there were goals throughout the team and we were creating chances, and that showed it. I mean, I thought we started the game very well. We did get that knock back with them scoring, from yet another goal conceded from a corner or set piece. But we still looked a threat. And I think it's when we play with that increased tempo that we look the most dangerous. We move the ball quicker and teams struggle to cope with it, to be honest, when we make those quicker transitions.
It was certainly the old proverbial game of two halves, wasn't it? But we've got a special guest coming to join us now, and I just want to ask him sort of what he thinks, his thoughts are on sort of the Leicester Everton game. Frank, what are you thinking? Yeah, he's not a happy chap there. We keep getting these managers sacked, don't we?
We do, don't we? We do have that knack, particularly particularly of the Chelsea variety. I know we famously got Mourinho the sack, and now we've got Frank the sack after his last league game. But I don't know whether that's because they still think of us as little Leicester, and you shouldn't be being overachieved by Leicester, as it were. But they do seem to think of us as the one. It's almost like, right, if you don't beat Leicester, you're out, and that's the way it goes at Chelsea. I
think as much as anything, Roman Abramovich has got an itchy sacking finger more so than Donald Trump ever had an itchy press the bomb finger. But it's sad, and to be honest with you, I think yes, he probably did punch above his weight, but managers aren't being given the time. But at least Brendan's not being linked.
I think he was linked for a day, and then the rumours came on about Thomas Tuchel, who, to be honest, I'm not convinced. I'm not sure how he keeps getting these big jobs, Thomas Tuchel. I think he oversaw the sort of decline of Dortmund, then managed to get a PSG job where he won the league. But having said that, with all due respect, I think you could win the league if you were managing PSG, Chris, and play yourself up front. So I'm not sure what achievement that is. But by all accounts, he's quite a hard taskmaster.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes for Chelsea.
Yeah. Let us look forward to tomorrow night. And for those that have it, as I know you do get a little bit confused, it is tomorrow, Craig.
Thank you.
That's okay, mate. Okay. Wednesday at Goodison Park, 8:15 p.m. So it's another late one. And if you have the platform, it is on BT Sport, although I'm sure other platforms are available. They did the win over us back in December, 2-0 with goals from Richarlison and Holgate in either half. Revenge time.
Yeah, I think we've had a few dodgy results at home, but we have definitely picked up our home form, and we've picked up in general. I think it'll be a tricky one. I mean, there's so many teams in and around that top 4, top 6 at the minute. I think even hanging on to a top 6 for some clubs will be an achievement the way things are going. I noticed that West Ham, they were last time I looked, were 2-1 up tonight, which, as it stands, puts them in the top 4 and moves Liverpool down. So I think, this time last season, Liverpool was so far ahead, you'd have needed a telescope to see them, to be honest. But this season, there's so many clubs in and around it that you lose a couple of games and you can drop out. So this is a vital game for us. And I would say, I'm not going to say it's a must win to keep that gap, but it's definitely a don't lose, because you want to keep that gap between those teams at the bottom, especially Everton. I think I've still got a couple of games in hand.
They have 2 games in hand and 6 points behind us. I'm just looking now. Yeah, West Ham are up into 4th as it stands at the moment. But yeah, Everton, they've got it's a 7-goal deficit on goal difference we've got over them. So they've got to have a couple of really, really strong games. But it wouldn't necessarily be a statement of intent as such, but if we could beat them and it gives us that 9 points clear with only 1 game in hand, it's just that next step, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they would still have 2 games in hand, because don't forget we are playing them. So that's still
true.
That's the sort of comment I would make, Chris, to be honest. So it's nice to see it's catching. But you're right. I mean, the same way that we did with Chelsea, and we put a 9-point gap there. To increase the gap against these teams is always a positive for us, and our away form's been great. It's difficult because I think Everton are starting to come back into a little bit of form. Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed a couple of games and he's back, and Rodriguez is back as well, supplying a bit of ammunition. So they're getting back to their strongest team. So I think it could be a tough one for us. And as I say, as much as I would love a win, I wouldn't be too disappointed if we came away with a draw and avoided defeat.
I'm just looking here. Decore is serving a ban for getting 5 bookings, and they've got Alan, Delph, Nkunu, and Gabin are all out as well. Well, that's probably completely 5 different players to who they actually are with my pronunciation.
Well, I think Alan missing and Decore missing is basically good for us, because that's their sort of insurance in front of that back 4. They've been 2 defensive midfielders who have been playing very well, and I think you've either got Tom Davis to come in, or I think he's been I can't remember his name, the Portuguese guy, Andres Gomez. I think has been back in the team, but neither of them offer that level of protection in front of the back 4 that Decore or Alan do. So that may be an opportunity for us, and we know that we've been getting a lot of success in that little pocket in front of a back 4 with Maddison and Perez the other day. So they could play into our hands a little bit. We've just got to be tight at the back and try and stop the supply to Calvert-Lewin, I think.
I mean, form guide at the moment, it's pretty even, to be honest with you. I mean, they're slightly better than us, but they have had the loss to West Ham, and we know how that feels, don't we? But
we do.
They've actually got 4 wins there, but we've not lost in I think 7 games, including the cup now. So we're not, it could be a boring 0-0.
It could well be, Chris, and I'm sure maybe that's what you've gone for in your predictions this time, although I doubt it. I think it's going to be a cagey one, to be honest, and I wouldn't have thought there's going to be more than a goal in it. But they're a strong side. I mean, whether they can keep their top players fit, they do have a few players like Richarlison who often misses a string of games with injury. Rodriguez, we know, has already missed a few with injury, and Calvert-Lewin. I mean, they're the main 3, I think. Digne is very good with his delivery. He's back in now. He missed a chunk of the season, so he's come back in the last couple of games. So his delivery into Calvert-Lewin is going to be something that we need to watch out for. So they're a decent, strong side, but then so many of the Premiership teams are these days.
I mean, just a quick hello to Rob there. Good evening, Rob. Thanks for joining us.
Rob?
I think I said the other day, it feels almost like the championship winning year, where every week I'd look at that and I'd look at the game and think, we're going to lose that one, we're going to lose that one. And like I said, Chelsea, we lost Liverpool, but Man United, Tottenham, Man City, the big games, to say, with apart from Liverpool, we're doing all right against. And this is one that, Everton, they spent a lot of money. And last time they spent a lot of money when they had Silva in charge, it all went completely wrong. Obviously, this time they've got Ancelotti. It could be a potential. This could be one of our most difficult games.
I think so. I think when you look around the whole team, they are pretty solid, to be fair. I mean, you look along that back line, as I say, you've got Dina, I think Coleman's back in, a right back, really experienced and loves to bomb forward. Keane's done well this season for them. He's much improved. I think Mina has been pretty solid for them as well. So that's quite a formidable back four. And then, luckily, as we said, we've got Decore and Allen out, but that's provided a wall for the more forward-thinking players to play well. So they're a strong unit. I wouldn't say they've got the strength in depth, and I think that may be something that will count against them as the season goes on, as the games rack up, and a couple of injuries would have a bigger effect on them than it appears to be having on us.
We can but hope that Pickford is playing tomorrow. Again, we did the opposition view on the website, LeicesterTillIDie.com. We do 2 opposition views. And we've got another show coming up later on tonight, guys, for the live opposition view. But the written opposition view, it was like, I asked the guy, who was your sort of worst performing player, the player you've been most disappointed with? And it's Pickford. The poor guy seems to be getting it from all ends, really.
I think the thing with any goalkeeper, you can make 10 fantastic saves, and you mess one up and it results in a goal, and that's the only one that will get remembered. We all know that strikers, midfield, outfield players can make mistake after mistake, and if it leads to a goal, or if it doesn't lead to a goal, it's forgotten about pretty quickly. But usually goalkeeper mistakes end in goals, and luckily for the opposition, Pickford always seems to have a mistake in him. So I think the key for us is to sort of pepper him with shots as much as we can, because I don't think his handling is that great. So I think that's one of those that we need to do. Put a goalkeeper who's feeling under pressure needs to be put under pressure during the game. Now, whether that's with crosses, whether that's with shots, but he just needs to feel that he's not having an easy night.
Yeah, just looking here, that if Everton win tomorrow and Mark Lawrenson has gone for a 2-0 win, he doesn't like us, Mark Lawrenson, does he?
No.
Everton can win 3 consecutive league fixtures against Leicester for the first time since a run of 4 between 77 and 80. So, they've got history against us.
They have, haven't they? But as I say, I mean, I would hope that, we've got a team that are growing in confidence and growing in their belief as well. And they're slightly different things. They sound the same, but they're slightly different. But I think now they go on the pitch with an expectancy that they have it within their own grasp of getting a good result against these teams. And I'm sure Brendan puts these against it. The last thing any player wants and any teams wants is to have the double done over them by any team in a season. Yeah. That's what they don't want. So this is the opportunity for us to turn it round. And, we've got to be playing with a lot of confidence at the minute. And I'm sure we'll give a good account of ourselves. I think the days of us getting turned over by anybody are long gone. And I know that this is recorded and you will play this back at any opportune moment, Chris. But I'm going to stick my neck out with that.
Moi. But we've had 2 clean sheets first time this season, which is a good thing to see.
It is, and that's with a slightly sort of chop and change back four. So I don't know. well, when we get round to my team, it'll be interesting to see if what Brendan does with regards to that. Obviously, Soyuncu played at the weekend and played pretty well from in my opinion. You know, you've got a Marty in there now who seems to be just the guy who turns up and is a bit of a cup game guy at the minute. But again, you know, rarely does anything too bad.
In fairness, he didn't have the best of games to start with, but I in my notes as I was watching the game, I called him ring rusty.
Yeah.
Because, you know, these guys haven't played for ages. They're going to come in, and he was like the weakest link, you know, at the start. But you've got to think, you know, when did he last have a full game?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that game, and I thought early on, the three who looked a little ring rusty were Luke Thomas, Amati, and Mendy, and all three of those haven't played much football in the past few weeks. So, you know, I think it's probably to be expected, but it's going to stand them in good stead, isn't it? You know, the more minutes you get on the pitch, the better it is, and we know that we've got more games coming up. It's busy. You know, we've got 2 games a week for the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think, with the Cup and the Europa League coming back. So I think these guys are going to get more pitch time.
Definitely. James Maddison, if he scores tomorrow, it's 4 consecutive games. Nobody's done that since Vardy back December to January 86-87.
Is that, I assume that's 4 consecutive league games, because I think he's done 4, including the Cup. Yeah, so I mean, you know, it was refreshing, wasn't it?
Well, it just says top flight matches, so read into that what you
right, okay. Yeah, I mean, it was refreshing, that interview he did after the last win, where he said, you know, he was looking to constantly improve his ratio of chances created and goals, and you can definitely see that he's getting further forward. Too often, you know, and I think that's good management as well by Brendan and the coaching team, because too often you get players who see themselves as ball players and they drop deeper. They want to be on the ball a lot more, and I think Maddison's sort of got over that thing where he thinks he needs to be the man on the ball all the time. He knows that the people behind him are playing really well. Indeed, he's really solid. Tielemans has stepped up a lot, I think, this season. So Maddison can allow himself to be a little bit freer and find pockets of space rather than coming back and demanding the ball all the time. And I think that's benefiting him and the team.
West Ham have just gone 3-1 up, and Newcastle have just gone 2-1 up against... No, Leeds have gone 2-1 up against Newcastle. Okay. I think we might be saying bye-bye Newcastle. We might be saying bye-bye Steve Bruce soon as well.
Yeah. I think Newcastle are the team in a bad run of form at the minute, and the teams below them are picking up. So could be a long second half of the season for them.
Andy says here, and we're going to come on to your team selection in a bit, who would take Vardy's place, Nacho or Perez? But it made me think that, you know, I mean, I put a sign up going like, Vardy's out, are we fucked, and what have you, you know, because Nacho and Perez, neither of them, and I know I keep going back to it, but, you know, when Vardy was out in the Championship winning season, Joe had goals in when he came on. Perez and Nacho, they don't fill me with confidence. I don't think when they come on, like, we're safe. That said, Vardy's gone out just as Barnes and Maddison are both hitting the goal-scoring form.
Yeah, as I said, you know, we've got goals around the team, I think. You know, Tielemans has chipped in with a few, and it's nice to see that we've got someone who can take a penalty as well. So that's reassuring. I think we've got goals in us, and I think whoever plays, whether it's Perez or Iheanacho, is going to have chances created for them. I mean, I thought Iheanacho, you know, he didn't have long in the game, but I thought he showed willing. You know, he didn't sort of sulk. I thought he put himself around as much and was closing down as much as he can. Didn't really have a chance, anything created for him. But, you know, these are Leicester City players at the end of the day, and they're going to play for us. So I'm not a big fan of those who get on these players. They are what they are. They don't go out and deliberately play badly. You know, all you can ask for is a player to put the effort in, and as long as they put the effort in for me, at least they've ticked that box. Not every player is going to be as good, and that's why they are bench players. But sometimes you need that squad, so hopefully they can step up.
Effort, as in the Jermaine Beckford type of effort.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those of us that remember that. Those of us that remember. Madison, Andy says, needs to be taken off corners. Andy Medhurst again says here, Castagna or Justin to take them. I don't know. Tillemans. What about Tillemans taking them?
Well, the thing is, I mean, for me, I mean, Maddison had improved his corners. I think it was just he wasn't particularly good at the weekend. We were all saying how fantastic that short corner routine was that we scored. That indeed he scored from. I thought he'd been getting better, to be honest, Maddis. So I think
he's getting it past the first player now, isn't he? That was always his trouble before, is that he never got it past the first player. He can get it past the first player now. And I don't think he's particularly. I think he's, like you say, he's improved at corners, but now it's down to the other players to get into the position, to get onto the end of them. So it's almost like not matters now. His problem was not getting it past the first man. He is now doing that. Now, come on, guys, where it's now on to you to get on to the end of it. But leading on to our. Like you say, team of the week. There's a comment that was made earlier, and I've saved it for now. And guys, if you're watching, stick your predictions up, because we're going to be coming on to predictions in a minute. Don't know who said this, but it was how many Craig's pricks played at Brentford. I wasn't going to mention it.
You know what? Because I love the way that Brendan comes on every week under the name of Facebook user. Just gives me some stick. To be honest, I would be surprised if anybody thought he was going to make that many changes because of what he'd played. So, I think somebody's. I think they're probably telling you that this part of the show is probably worth ditching. To be honest, the number of times that I've got it right, I think the closest I've been is 10 out of 11.
I was just going to say last week, the week before, I think you got 10 out of 11 the week before, which is not bad. Oh, it's very good.
I think Brendan's just trying to throw me under the bus, to be honest, because he'll play a strong team in the cup one week, saying that he really wants to win the cup, and then he'll make 8 changes in the next one. So he's not doing me any favours, is Brendan.
That was it. Like I say, after the Stoke game, I thought he would go, but for a really, really, really strong team. But then I say the word strong, when you look at the team that started, it was, a team that at the start of the season we were playing week in, week out. But it is Everton. It is away. It is tomorrow night. Let's have a look at your lineup for this one. And first of all, your formation.
Sorry, I lost you there, Chris. You just froze on me there.
Okay, I do apologize. So we'll have a look now at your starting lineup. But first of all, what is it? The same formation as always, 4-1-4-1?
Yeah, I think so.
The BBC like to call it 4-1-3-2, but we know it's 4-1.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Tielemans drops back, but to be honest, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of the players sort of dread me picking them to play because they know that they're not going to. So. But I think we'll stick with that formation. I think there'll be a couple of changes, but nothing too dramatic. So Schmeichel will come back in goal, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we're going to stick with Castagna and JJ as fullbacks. I think Evans will come back in, and I've got a feeling that he's going to play Soyuncu in this one. For me, as good as we keep saying Fofana is in the air. And he is, but to me, he's not as commanding a presence as Soyuncu. And I think with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think we need someone with a bit more presence. And he has a tendency to drift over to the back stick when you've got Digne and Richarlison both playing down the left-hand side. So that right-hand side is where Calvert-Lewin tends to drift. Now, when he plays Evans and Fofana, Evans plays on the left of that pair, when Soyuncu plays on the left of that pair. So that would be his area of the pitch. So I think it's important that we have a strong presence there. So I would be going with Soyuncu and Evans for this pairing.
You make, as always, it's a very good point, and one that I can't argue with. And in fairness, I think Fofana needs a rest anyway. He's played virtually every game, I think, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. Ndidi back in instead of Mendy there in front of that. Tielemans and Maddison to go in the middle. Barnes on the left. And I've got a feeling that he's going to go with Ricardo instead of Albrighton. Because, as I say, I think that's a perfect cue, obviously, for Albrighton to play. But I just think that he tried that. He brought Ricardo on and played him in front in a midfield position. And I think he did that for a reason, to be honest, to just see how that went. And Ricardo looked sharp to me. And as I say, with Digne and Richarlison being pretty dangerous down that left-hand side, I think those two doubling up would cause us many problems going forward as they cover as they would give us defensively. So I'm going to go with Ricardo playing in front of Castagna.
I can see your argument there, and it's a bit. And I know, like I say, we do this just for fun, but it would be a tad hard on Albrighton, who, in fairness, has done nothing wrong. But you know, these are the decisions that we have to make, and we have got a lot of games coming up. And again, Albrighton, and like I say, I've absolutely love Albrighton, and I think him coming back. In fact, I did the BBC. I'm doing the BBC blog for their transfer day website coverage, and everybody from one team does it, and they were saying sort of like, who are you looking to sign, etc., etc. And I've said, getting the likes of Mendy and his form and Albrighton back, it's like getting new signings in, and Albrighton has really done it. But we have got a lot of games coming up, and he is no spring chicken.
No, I think it's that athleticism that we probably need a little bit more. Albrighton's been great. You know, as he seemed to be a bit out of the picture and almost the forgotten man, but, you know, needs must when we had that many injuries. And he came in and did a fantastic job, Albrighton. So, it is harsh. And, you know, it wouldn't surprise me, you know, if I was wrong. I know it has happened occasionally, but only every week. So I think, I just think for this one, as I say, I think Ricardo's back. I think he needs to be seeing how they can work together. And as Facebook users, Albrighton's crosses are still the best at the club, but you know, I'm not sure we're going to have that many people in the box to get on the end of them, to be honest. So I'm not sure. I think sort of attacking quick transitions, which we get with Ricardo, are probably the best form of attack against Everton.
I think had Vardy been fit and Vardy been playing, I'm not trying to presume I know what you're thinking, but maybe if Vardy was in the team, maybe Vardy was starting, then maybe Albrighton might have come into your thinking a little bit more.
Maybe, but then, you know, Everton tend to go with big centre halves. You know, Keane is a big guy, 6'3", I think. Yeremina is a big lad. You know, your delivery has got to be spot on, and you've got to have somebody who's really decent in the air. So I think if you can play fast and keep the ball on the floor and play in and around them, you've probably got more chance of success against Everton than putting the ball in the air.
And we've not got the biggest squad, in fairness, these days, have we? You know, and you've only got to look at corners, you know. So no, I totally get, and like Rob said there, ease him slowly in, but this is your starting lineup. It's not necessarily going to be the 11 that finish the match, you know.
No, to be honest, I thought I was surprised he played. He started at Brentford. I thought he would be eased in there for an hour or so. So I think he's done his easing in. I think he's ready for a start. To be honest, he'll be fresh. And as I say, I think the speed of transition will give us the edge against Everton rather than anything physical up front, to be honest. So we're missing a striker, aren't we? So I'm going to go for Perez over Iheanacho on this one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just think I do like Perez. I'm not as against Iheanacho as a lot of people are. I think that's right, Rob. What you're saying there. I think Perez is a clever player, so he can drop into gaps. Thing is, when you've got big centre halves like Keane and Yeremina, they want to play up against somebody, so they're a little bit unnerved when they don't have anybody to mark. So it's going to be interesting for them if Perez plays like I think he will, dropping into that hole without them having Doucouré and Allen as natural defensive midfielders to pick him up. It offers a problem. Does one of the centre halves come out to pick Perez up? And if he doesn't, the chances are he's going to get in some really nice gaps in between. So I think he could cause them some problems.
I mean, as you know, I used to stick up for Iheanacho all the time, and I keep saying it, how pleased I was he came back. Of recent, I've been very critical of him, and when don't get me wrong, you always see these posts like, "Why are you critical about players?" Blah blah. When they're on that pitch wearing the blue shirt, I will not criticise them because they are. But as a fan who pays money, who spends money at the shop, we've every right to say we don't. It's our opinion, and that's what these shows are all about. I can't say Iheanacho had a bad game with Brentford because he wasn't on that long, and the game was virtually over when he came on anyway. But Perez, he, like you say, and I'm a big fan of Perez as well. And to me, he reminds me a lot, like when Beardsley used to play with Lineker.
Yeah.
They were both strikers, but Lineker used to get all the goals, all the glory. But he loved playing with Beardsley.
Yeah.
And Perez kind of, tell me if you disagree with me, but it's almost like that sort of a player. You're not going to get the goals out of him, but you're going to get the taking players away to give other players space, the runs off the ball. The Iheanacho probably, I don't know if he always gives us that.
Yeah, no, I that I would tell you if I disagreed with you, Chris, but I think I do agree with you, and I think. I mean, a lot of people were saying that Perez didn't have his best game against Brentford, and possibly not. But he had three that I can think of decent attempts. There was one early on where I think there was a cut back to him, and he just cut across it a bit too much with his left foot. There was one where Maddison played a great first-time ball into him, and he took it well, but the defender got a block. And then he had a good strike later on that the keeper palmed up into the air and just dropped over the box. So. I think he's that kind of player who he comes onto the ball late. So if you've got the likes of Ricardo or Barnes or whatever coming in and round and pulling the ball back, I think Perez is a perfect player to be coming onto those types of ball because I think he's that kind of that Spanish type of player, who attacks space rather than just standing and waiting. So I think, as I say, I think he's a clever player, and I think. The way that we play our football now, I think he'll come more into his own. So I think it could cause him some problems.
And and he's hitting the target with his shots. Let's not that's the main thing that we used to criticise strikers in the past. I've criticised Jeff Sluck for. We used to criticise Maddison up until last week. You're hitting it into Rosette, hit the target, and something will go in. And we've got to remember, Vardy's not scored for a while.
No, he's not, is he? And again, all players, are confidence players. And I think now, I think the important thing is, if possible, that Brendan makes a clear choice. It's either Iheanacho or it's Perez, and they get 3 or 4 or 5 games. I don't think it would be right if he's picking and changing each game just to try and give them a rest, because they've got to learn that position a little bit more and play with the players in and around them to know what type, so they know what type of runs that player makes, so he can fit in. So I think it's important that whichever one he goes with, he sticks with him for a run of games. If he doesn't score, he doesn't score. But I think chopping and changing won't do any good.
No, totally agree with you on that one, and maybe that has been, and I'll admit this, maybe that's been Inacho's fault that he hasn't had those run of games. Because, I mean, let's be honest with you, even when Vardy's out injured, we're talking about him missing 4 or 5 games. That isn't a lot of games to settle in. Vardy's not scored in that many games, I don't think, but he's certainly been at least 4 he's not scored in. So to come in just for 4 or 5 games, it is hard.
It is. I mean, wouldn't it be great for Brendan to have a problem of deciding whether he puts Vardy straight back in, because whoever's come in has been scoring goals? It'd be a great position for him to be in. But it is an opportunity. You're saying, strikers want to play and they want to see an opportunity. They've now got an opportunity, so it's up to them to grasp it.
And someone is asking here, why can we not sign someone that mirrors Vardy's style of play, or at least someone that is as good a presence up front? The rumours still persist, won't go away with Eduardo from Celtic. And I believe he is a very, very similar style of player to Jamie Vardy. And of course, Brendan knows him, but we'll have to wait and see, like you say, if that comes off. I don't think we've got a lot of money because of the COVID situation and the business that our owners are in, but we have got 2, one certainly big high wage earner and possibly Demarai Gray off the wage bill. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's obviously the question that we all ask, why can't we get somebody? But I think, there's not that many of them around. Vardy is pretty unique in terms of the way he plays. There's not many players around that play like Vardy. And let's not forget, Vardy wasn't a hit straight off the bat, was he? He took 2 or 3 seasons to get going at the club, and that was when we were down in the Championship. He wasn't pulling up any trees. But then again, Kane came on loan and he wasn't either. So sometimes players do need time to develop. And it takes talent to actually pick somebody, to spot someone, and they're going to fit. I mean,
and we've not been bad with that, have we? Really?
Yeah, I mean, Edouard, I'm not sure about. I mean, from what I don't watch a lot of Scottish football, to be honest. But he might be a good finisher. He doesn't look like someone who has the work rate of Vardy. So it depends whether Brendan is interested in somebody who has the work rate of Vardy. Although Vardy's, work rate is curtailed a little bit now. He plays a little bit cuter. But he obviously knows Edouard, and if he goes for him, then it's because he's confident that he can make the step up. But you look around, I mean, I'm not seeing many other players that you think that we could go and get. I know we've talked about Ings, but
the problem I think we've got going forward is this: we all do it. We need another Vardy. There isn't another Vardy. It's like saying Barcelona will soon need another Messi. I mean, the poor guy that follows Messi into that Barcelona team is going to have hell. Ndidi and Mendy, both of them were compared to Kante all the time. And I think you've got to say, if we do sign another player, yes, he's got to be in that style because that's the way that the team plays. So either you change your style or you accept they're not exactly a Vardy Mark II. But it will be interesting. A couple of days still to go. But
it will be. I mean, there's a guy at Blackburn who I've always liked the look of. This I think it's Adam Armstrong, who was at Newcastle for a long time, and they kept sending him out on loan, and always scored whenever he went on loan. He scored. He's now scoring pretty regularly for Blackburn as well. But he's a similar Vardy type player. He's not tall, but he's sharp and he knows where the goal is, and he's quite direct in his play. Now, again, that kind of player may not be overly expensive, but may be the type who is prepared to come and sit on a bench and learn his trade, because he's still fairly young, even though he's played a lot of games. So it may be that they're looking at those type of players as well.
Well, like I say, we will find out by 11 o'clock on Monday night when the window closes slam to. Right, we're going to have a look at score predictions in a minute. So, guys, I know there's one coming. Get your score predictions in. We usually at this time of the week, and I just check. I don't know if you've got one here, Craig, but we always look at we have to be quick because we've got another show coming up. But a classic match.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. I have got one that I was at, and I've always meant to get myself a T-shirt for this game. So it was January the 7th, 2017. It was an FA Cup game up at Everton. I was lucky enough to go up there with Scott. And the reason that we thought about getting T-shirts made was we went 1-0 down. It was quite a tight game. First half was 0-0, pretty tight. Lukaku scored after 63 minutes. But then we had 2 goals in 5 minutes from one Ahmed Musa. So we were going to get T-shirts with "I've seen Musa score" twice on it, because I don't think he scored that many goals for us, to be honest. But it was a fantastic turnaround. I think Danny Drinkwater had a really good game that game as well. And I'll keep it brief because I know you've got to move on and do your other show before you take over the world of media. But I have got a little question for you, as I know you enjoy the little questions that come with these games. So, which player made his? Let me get this correct. I just need to check this. Okay, which player made his first team debut during that game from the bench, one of only 4 appearances, after we bought him in 2016 and we sold him in 2020? He made 4 appearances and that was his first appearance at first team level.
And we bought him when?
2016.
So he was a post-Premiership winning signing.
Bought him in August 2016. Sold him in August 2020.
Sold him in August 2020.
I'll give you a clue. He made no Premier League appearances. He only played in the Cups. He played 3 FA Cup games and he played in 1 League Cup game.
I think, well, I don't think it is Iborra because somebody just come up with a better answer than me. So
someone always comes up with a better answer than you, Chris, to be fair.
Somebody here is saying Kaputska.
And they would be correct.
Yes.
It was. He came on in about the 80th minute, made his debut from the bench, managed to get books as well during that time, but only made 4 appearances. One of those players that we never really saw the best of, unfortunately. I know he had that bad injury as well. So
I think the same could be said of Musa as well. I mean, I know I'm one of the few. I absolutely loved Musa when he played.
It's sorry to interrupt, Chris. He's supposed to be training with training with West Brom at the moment.
Yes.
Because he's out of contract. There's nothing to say that we could do a lot worse than getting him in for the rest of the season on a short-term contract basis, because he's probably the closest to Vardy in terms of the pace and being able to push, get in behind a back line. But as you're right, he was always played out wide. He rarely got a chance to play through the middle.
Yeah. And as I always say, it was like a catchphrase whenever we talk about Musa, got 2 on his debut against Barcelona, which is not bad going.
He did. In fact, thinking of that, I mean, Scott probably saw him score every goal that he's ever scored, because he went to that Barcelona game over in Stockholm. Yeah, so he saw him score 2 twice. Now that is a T-shirt.
And let's not forget, of course, the other player that we signed that scored twice on his debut, Diabate, in the amazingly tough game against Peterborough in the FA Cup. Who can forget that? But talking of scoring, it's score prediction time. Now,
I'd just like to point out, here, Chris, that week after week, I was giving you a 3-1 scoreline, and it just so happened that for the Brentford game, it was 3-1, and you didn't ask me for my score prediction. I just want to put it on record. Maybe you knew that was what was going to happen.
My crystal ball was shining at me. Did I not ask you? I can't remember not asking you on that game.
You didn't.
No. And of course, you would have gone 3-1, wouldn't you?
I would. Not only would I have gone 3-1, I'd have told you the scorers.
And what's the lottery tickets for tomorrow night?
That's for my eyes only, Chris.
Anyway, here's what the guys have gone for. So Steve Walsh has gone for a 2-1 win, as Big Marshy. Ian Marshall has gone 2-1. And myself and Steve Lynex have both gone for a 1-1 draw. I do think it's going to be a hard game. And like I say, just worried no Vardy. But what do you think?
Well, I think the biggest surprise there is Ian Marshall going for a Leicester victory, especially as one of his old teams. He rarely goes for a victory, but I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go 2-1 to us as well in a hard game, but I'm going to go a 2-1 edging it.
Well, let's just have a look. Tony, good evening, Tony. Everton 1, City 2. Where are we going down here? Rob's going 1-1. Facebook user is going 2-1 City. Andy Medhurst going 1-1. We seem to have picked the favourite scores here. 1-1 without Vardy, Vardy without Madders to score again. 1-1, 2-1. It seems to be that. I'll take the 2-1 if it comes.
Me too.
We would. And we'll be top of the league again if we win, as we were the other day for about an hour and a half, I think it was.
Yeah, we'll take that. I mean, as long as we're just in and around and keep picking up wins, wherever we finish, and that'll be good enough for me.
That's how silly it is, though. That's twice this season, and it'll probably end up as a pub quiz. End up putting my teeth in. End up as a pub quiz question is what season was the sort of 3 table toppers in the same day of the Premier League? And it's this season. It's Tottenham, Man City, Liverpool, and now us, Man City, Man United. But there we go. Yeah. It's football for you. Look, Craig, thank you very much as always.
Pleasure.
You are the voice of reason. Are you going to be able to join? It says here. It says I've got to say that in your contract. You're going to be back on Thursday for the Leeds preview.
Yeah, another tough game coming up. They're coming up thick and fast. So I'll see you then.
I think we've got a week. I think we've only got the one game. Oh no, we've got 2 next week as well. We've got Fulham and Wolves next week. So yeah, it's you're going to be seeing me more than your wife.
Well, let's go for a no comment there, shall we?
Just in case she's behind the door. As I used to say, good night from him. Thanks a lot, Craig. All the best, mate. Stay safe.
You're welcome. Yeah, you too, Chris. Bye, everyone.
Cheers. Thanks to Craig there. He is the knowledgeable one of the two of us. Thanks for joining us, guys. Guys, give us 30 minutes and I'll be back. I'll maybe do a change so it doesn't look quite as obvious I'm doing it. I can prove my wife wrong and just show I can do it twice in a night, even if it is the football show. I'm going to be back at 8:30 and I'm going to be speaking to Gary from a Everton fan site. So please join us then at 8:30. And thanks for your company. And I will hopefully, God willing, see you in half an hour. Take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Good night now.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.